Hey, coming at you inside the world's largest ball of yarn. We're back to Rage Across the Internet, a Werewolf the Apocalypse podcast. And believe it or not, we're back, week 2.
It's amazing. We actually survived, and we came back to do it again.
We really did. You heard the voice there of producer Joey.
Hey, guys.
And in studio with us again today is our buddy Daniel Tyson.
Still not my name.
And Jessica.
Hello.
And today, the topic is going to be, shockingly, Werewolf the Apocalypse. But specifically, we're talking about...
favorite kind.
Isn't it? We're talking about Werewolf from the perspective of the new player. So, lucky for us, we have both Danny and Jessica here, so we can grill them and ask them a series of stressful questions to try to freak them out. There may or may not be a cash prize for the best answer, but...
Ooh,
There
cash.
There may or may not be tears.
Oh,
Well, they won't be
that's
mine. They'll
even
be
better.
Danny's.
That's my prize.
And maybe the prize to the listener who sent in the best email last week. Maybe. We'll see.
We'll see. Okay.
Is cash worth tears? That's the discussion I'll have at a later time.
Depends on
yes. Yes, that's the answer.
Yeah, I think cash is worth tears. Yeah.
So
So-
Joey, sorry about that. We came up with some questions here, and why don't you be the one? Because you were gonna anyway. I see that look. Why don't you throw us off? Get us started. What do you say?
Okay. So, we'll start with Jessica.
All right.
What were your thoughts when you were first asked to play?
First asked to play. Do you want to play this game? I don't know. Do I want to play this game? I mean, I was interested in hearing more about it. Like we said in the introduction last week, I had a friend who did live action role playing or LARPing, and I was a little bit interested in trying that out. So this was just I don't have to get dressed up and go out into the woods with like wooden swords and things version of that. So yeah, okay, I can stay like in my regular clothes and just roll some dice. Yeah, let's check this out. So I think you gave me 20 and we're like, here, go through this a little bit, like as you talked about it.
Yeah, core book 20, and I think we started you probably at the tribe section, if I recall correctly.
Yes, that's probably accurate. My first character was a Fianna. I am on my second character, and she's an Octina now. But yeah, I kind of just read through those things and was like, yeah, these people, I'm gonna say, seem kind of cool. You know, this seems like something that I could potentially get into. So yeah, let's give it a shot. Let's go through a little bit of character creation, and as we're working on it, if it seems like something I'd be into, then yeah, I'll give it a shot. We'll play. Let's try it.
All right. So, Danny, what were your thoughts when you were first asked to play?
Well, I was honestly a little weirded out.
Oh shit.
I'm sorry.
Hey, it's cool.
Everyone knows what D&D was, and yeah, it seemed interesting, but not interesting enough to actually go out and try it. Mainly because I didn't have very many friends who did.
Okay.
Now, Porter and I have a lot of similar interests, and him and I can bullshit on just about anything for long periods of time.
Okay.
And it's happened several times over. One day he's like, you know what, I think it's about time. We're going to talk about Werewolf.
So Porter just made this decision for you. He was like, sorry, Danny, sit down, shut up. This is what we're going to talk about.
I think so.
God damn, that sounds so like me.
Shocking enough, right? Now, you know, that fantasy, bad term to use, but like vampires and werewolves and that stuff's always been cool to me. And werewolves are always my favorite one of those. So he's like, you know what? I trust Porter enough. All right, tell me what you got. And hate to sound cliche, but it kind of changed my life too.
It did.
A little bit.
Yeah. And now you get to hang out with all of us once a month.
Which I have no problem hanging out with you guys already.
Wait a minute. That sounded like you might have a problem hanging out with us.
That's what you
I
probably
think,
Danny.
I think the problem is scheduling the time.
That's
Well,
the problem.
we're
there
all
are no
adults.
implications other than scheduling times.
Okay. So, Jessica, you
Yeah.
kind of touched on this next question.
Yeah, and that's going to be, how did you develop your first character? Was it based on you, or was this a vastly different kind of scenario?
I don't think that my character was really that based on me. I mean, I have no problem saying I chose Fianna because it reminded me most of a series of books that I was reading that took place in Ireland, and there was a lot of fairy-related things in the book series.
So not green eggs and ham.
So not Green Eggs and Ham, that's
Okay.
true. I had no idea that took place in Ireland. It's really,
Green eggs and ham.
That's crazy.
That's really weird. I never made that connection before.
The more you know.
Right? Anyway, so that's the one that drew me in the most, was because it reminded me of this fantasy world that someone else had created that I already really liked. I guess I a little bit based her on me because I didn't know how not to. So, like, by default, she kind of was.
That's a very common first character.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
like,
makes perfect
I
sense,
don't
yeah.
know how not to do this, so this is clearly what I'm going to do. I picked Thurge because, like, that magical, mystical kind of thing always a little bit intrigued me. So I actually stuck with that for my second character as well.
Now that's a good thing to bring up. Now, Danny, we are going to pivot to you, I promise.
That's fine.
But you are on your second character.
I am.
So what changed between the first and the second?
I would say that the first character seemed too one-dimensional. I didn't like her background. I didn't like... it's really hard to say. Like, I didn't not like her because she was my first character. But, like, I saw all these things that I did wrong in character creation, or what I perceived as wrong, because there really is no right or wrong way to create your character.
Can you give us an example?
There really wasn't, like, a purpose. Like, my second character has a purpose, and you and I worked on that together when creating her. But the first one was just, like, a nobody, with no reason for being other than to fight the fight. And it was one-dimensional. It was kind of boring. But I did that to myself. Like, that's not anybody else's fault.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I like that you kind of had that stumble.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of had that process you went through, because it shows growth.
Right.
And I love to see that.
That's a big part of this game, is growing and learning new stuff, and not just as a character, but, like, as a player too.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned again, like, last week, my current character is doing some stuff that I personally would not be okay with. I am not a leader. I am very much not a leader.
And
And I am alpha right now, so it's different. But that's part of, like, growing not only as me, but as my character as well.
now, growth, that's a great thing to bring up, is we pivot over to Danny. Because, well, Jessica, you, and this is very common, chose to make a new character, having learned more about the game. Danny, you went a different way with it. And I definitely want you to get there. But first and foremost, the same question, how did you develop your first character? Was it based on you or wasn't it?
I'd
Don't
say-
lie, because I know.
Yes, you do. I'd say it's probably about half and half. It's hard not to base your first character on yourself.
Like I said, like, it's difficult to not just go, okay, well, this is me and this is what I know, so this is what I'm going to do.
So there are some aspects that character is definitely me. But then I tried to go in a different route. I tried going in a different direction than I normally would have. Okay, time to pick your auspice. Time to pick your tribe. What are you going to pick? I went Philodox because it was something completely different and out of the norm than I normally would have. If it were me, I just would have went Auron, done.
Really?
Be the warrior.
Auron's what you would have went with.
Originally, that was the
Okay.
idea. But, let's try something new. This is a whole new aspect to me at that time. Let's try something new and get the most out of it.
I think that's very daring to pick up a game that you've never played, let alone, I mean, you've never been in the genre of role-playing games.
Not at all.
And then, to pick up a role-playing game and create a character and say, I'm going to go with something completely different than what I'm used to, what I feel comfortable with. That is extremely daring, and I applaud that.
I appreciate it. And I'll be honest, it's still a struggle.
Oh, we know.
Thanks a lot. It's not an easy thing to do.
We say that with all the love in the world, Danny.
We got you right in our hearts, but...
Nice little high five from Porter. Thanks a lot.
Now, yeah. Now, your backstory.
Again, completely different than what I am or would have done.
Yes.
My backstory was a punk teenage kid drug dealer.
And see, like, I knew you as a teenager, and while you were in fact a punk, you certainly weren't doing drugs.
Was I really a punk, though?
All teenagers are punks.
Touche.
Get off my lawn.
All right, she's got me. But compared to others, I wasn't that much of a punk.
No, it was very much against type.
Yeah.
And I definitely wasn't a drug dealer.
He says wasn't. You hear that?
Promise.
You hear that, officers? He said wasn't. There's an implication behind it.
And I said promise.
Well, if you're going to pinky promise, then we'll take you at your word.
Guys, this is going to be on the internet. It has to be true.
Point. Okay. So, Danny, what is your favorite part of the game? Like, is it the fight scenes? Is it interacting with the NPCs?
Oh, it's both those. I love the fight scenes. Those are a lot of fun.
Okay.
But then you have to remember that this fight might have taken close to 30 minutes to happen because of all the dice rolling and, okay, this is what I'm going to do. You got to try and make that stuff quick. But then you remember, after all that happened, that was probably only about 20 seconds worth of actual time. Or, sorry, in-game time.
Explosive violence.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, if you had to pick one, like, golden shining moment, what would it be?
Oof. Oh, man.
See, hard questions.
And it depends on what you're looking for.
I'm not looking for
Golden
any-
shining moment of what? Of my character?
Well, that you gravitate to. That you say, yeah, that was the moment right there.
Ooh, see this character, there's a few for this character.
Okay, well, give some examples.
Oh, man. In game, my character has lost an arm.
Okay.
That sucks.
Yeah.
And yeah, there are, rules and parts of the game that stuff regenerates. But at that time, for what was happening, it wasn't possible.
Okay.
Now my character
Is an amputee.
is an amputee, and I didn't let that slow me down.
And I got to give you credit for it, because I had never done that to a player before. And I didn't run it by Danny. He didn't see this coming, but I knew it was going to happen. And, I think a lot of players would have, and I think probably understandably, been very upset. Or wanted,
Oh, it was still upsetting.
or, wanted to, okay, well, I want a new character, or... I think there's a lot of reactions to that, and I think the rarest version of that reaction is well, I'm going to take this and grow with it, and that's what you did.
And again, still not an easy thing to do.
No. I mean, becoming an amputee in the real world is a life-changing event. And for your character in the game world, it is a substantial life-changing event and could still possibly lead to that character's ultimate death.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean, at the very least, remember, I'm a Philodox. To not bring the team down and don't tend to, or how do I say it exactly?
yeah, quote the litany.
Yeah,
Come on, buddy.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
What's the quote?
This Man, it's embarrassing now. I'm sorry, everybody.
He's on the spot. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Do not suffer thy people to tend thy sickness.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Still embarrassing, but yes. For someone to be an amputee, other people in the Garo Nation would see that as bringing their team down.
Right.
And I made it a point to show everyone, NPCs, even my own pack, that I can't do that. I can't go against what the litany says, being a Philodox.
Right.
So, take that second chance. Show everyone he's worth staying.
And I think that, your character isn't the first Guru amputee to make a go of it. And that certainly helps. Like, you're not the first one in the line.
Yeah, most likely.
No, seriously. There's some pretty famous ones out there.
But none that I know of.
Fresh in one arm.
So, it's... You're not the precedent.
Understandable.
But I think it's fantastic that you went through that process and your character's growing from it.
Yeah.
To give a little more praise before I know we hand this question off to Jessica. I will say, not to get too inside baseball on you guys, not to get into many details, but there was a point in our games where I offered Danny got an out. Where he could have... We're going to use the word undone what was done to him. And he took the harder path. That arm's gone, that arm's staying gone. When he had there was a workaround.
Option.
Yeah. And, my hat's off to you for that. You elected, your character elected. It's a big deal. You deserve credit for it.
And that's one of the hardest things I, as a person, struggle with during this game. Is what would Dan pick and what would the character pick?
Yeah, that is something that's kind of difficult to do. Like, sometimes, I'll sit there for a second and I'll go, and I'll voice it out loud. I'll go, well, I know what I would do, but that's not what my character would do here.
And that is kind of fun for me to watch because I don't even think of it anymore. I've gotten to that point where it's just, that's what they do. And they run. And I allow my characters to go. So it's neat to watch that little struggle. But anyway, Jessica.
Yes.
What is your favorite part of the game?
I like interacting with the NPCs because I feel like we learn a lot of stuff from them. I can't speak for anybody else's games, but Porter's NPCs are like real people. Like he does a really good job with them.
Thank you.
So like they feel like they're actual people there, and like they have distinct personalities, and some of them like us and some of us don't really. Some of them don't really like us. I think the character interaction is probably my favorite part.
And going back to his NPCs, I think that's his way of being able to give you knowledge and information that your characters need to know.
Right.
Without saying, hey, sit down and read this book and know this stuff.
Right, because it's easier that way, honestly, because we do have lives, and it's hard to just say, hey, read these pages.
Yeah. So I love that part of the NPC interaction. It's like, oh, hey, you guys need to know this. Let's have a conversation about it.
Right.
So, okay. So, speaking of questions and answers, what questions would you have asked when you first were getting started? Like, if you could go back, what questions would you have asked, knowing what you know now?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
That's
Danny?
not easy
Yeah.
to think of.
Yeah, I don't really know here.
Okay. I mean, is there anything you wished you had gotten answered, or any...
Are you saying, like, if we knew these things, would we have chosen to not play?
No.
Or...
Like, what answers could you have gotten that would have made your choices easier? Like, maybe you would have picked Uktena first.
I think that's really only stuff that I could have gotten from playing the game. Like, I think that I could have asked all kinds of questions. Porter would have absolutely answered anything. And he would have offered up any information that he thought would have made it easier to create a good character.
Absolutely.
So...
But sometimes you don't know the questions to ask.
Right, but he's played enough where I think that if there were things that he thought that I should have known when creating my first character, he would have brought them up.
Okay.
So really, I think that anything that I learned from playing that first character is only something that I could have gotten from actually playing.
Okay.
Man, I still trying to think of this while she was talking.
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah,
it
well,
didn't take long enough.
yeah.
I have a habit of talking quickly.
It's any questions that do come up usually get answered fairly quickly in game.
How so? Examples for the class.
Oh man,
See, we like putting you on the spot.
yeah, I'm not good at that kind of stuff.
And
we're
it says
hoping for
the
them tears, buddy.
Philodox.
Yeah, I knew it.
Come
That's
on.
where this was leading.
Maybe if you cry, they'll lay off. Or maybe they won't.
Or maybe we'll just kill him.
Yeah, there's only one way to find out.
That's happening.
Yep.
That didn't sound like tears, though.
No, no. That was him trying to choke on an answer.
Oh, wow. Trying to choke, I think it was.
Pretty successful.
Oh, man. Still got nothing.
He's got no questions. Let's just put that down in the official record. The Philodox has no questions.
Oh.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's
That's
so
so
mean.
much worse.
That's so mean.
Hurting my
I
feelings.
thought that was my job. Look at you.
I'd like to give you a little bit of a high five here, but if I move, I might hit my mic, and we're really not setting that up again.
Okay.
Well, all right. If we'll give Danny some time if he wants to come back to that later. But in the interim, the
I'll
word
try.
struggle was used a couple times. And so here's another question to add to Danny's stress levels.
I like this. Continue.
Right. So Jessica, what is your greatest struggle playing?
Separating myself from my character, I think, is still probably my greatest struggle. Which is why I'll stop and I will voice, this is how I feel about that. This is not how my character feels about that. And I have to think about it. I feel like I've gotten a little bit better with it, but that's the thing that I feel like I need to work on most, other than, could you just read the damn books and maybe learn the thing? Because that's...
Sounds like my line.
No, I know. I understand. I know. There are things that I really ought to know at this point, and I don't. So...
And those are both very valid answers
Yeah.
and things that I hope you continue to work on and
Right.
excel at.
Yeah. It a little bit helps now, like, not only do I have you guys to talk about it with, but Nick plays too. So, like, we actually do have conversations about Werewolf.
See, that's awesome.
Like, I don't...
That is handy.
Right? Like, I can run different stuff by him, and he's got totally different ideas than we do. And so I'm really excited to, like, actually sit in on one of their games and see how they do things.
We are all excited for that. Let's call a spade there. We all want to hear about what
We
this game's
really
like.
do want to hear about his games.
20 some odd years. I don't know what a game looks like that I'm not telling. I want to
Right,
hear
and
about
that's-
this.
It's because there's so many ways to interpret things. And,
Right.
like, where you choose to set your game, both in time and in location. So, that's...
It'll be I'm sure it's going to be a topic or something akin to it will be a topic down the line, but
Yeah.
we're now going to give Danny some stink eye while he answers a question.
But
Greatest
it's fun.
struggle playing, my friend.
My biggest struggle is definitely keeping the differences aside as far as Danny and the
Oh, you're just
character
gonna
hunter.
steal my answer?
Oh no.
What the hell, what the hell,
Yeah.
DT?
DT. Well, it's still DT. I'll give you that much.
I think your biggest struggle is conspiracy theories, personally.
Yeah. Okay, you're probably right. It's conspiracy theories.
I think his biggest struggle is public speaking.
Oh, damn it. Wow.
That's also valid.
Tears have started.
I have to hospitalize with this guy's burns. What's going on?
Well, I mean, if he can't come up with his own answers, we need to keep the conversation going.
Okay.
Oh,
She's got a point. I'm sorry.
And it is not
But-
fair to steal her answer.
That is one of my struggles, yes.
Stealing her answers, yes, we know that.
Okay. But I'm going to go with you on it and probably say, yeah, you're right. It's the conspiracy theories. I work by myself in a little, call it lab, and I stick to myself. I talk to myself because I gotta cut some time out. I gotta kill some time, and I start coming up with the most ridiculous theories possible. Watch a lot of TV, so that kind of stuff happens. And I will say, out of, we'll call it 10, I think 2 of them have come true.
2?
So, out of 10, which is probably closer to like 20.
He has been spot on some of them.
Well, right, yeah. Like, I'm not saying that his paranoia isn't warranted in a few places, but
Don't know what you're talking about.
Just because he's paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get him.
It's just part of my character too, not just Dan.
And see, now I'm going to be a huge asshole and get on this dog pile.
Oh, here we
I
go.
think, Danny, I think that your greatest struggle is you overthink.
Oh, that's
sometimes. And you
definite there.
You know, you know what you want to say, you know what you want to do, but sometimes you overthink it and you stumble. You know, and sometimes that gets you in trouble. You know. I just sound like a greater joke here.
Yeah.
No,
I just
I mean
wanted
he's
to pile
right.
on.
And honestly, to go full circle there, that's why Jessica is the alpha of our pack now. My character was the alpha. And he had that paranoia and probably closer to, foot and mouth syndrome, which, yes, still trying to fix at times.
But you're doing a lot better with it.
I appreciate that. But the character realized it too. And to not get any of his pack killed, step down as alpha for the better of a pack.
That's fantastic. I
That's
mean,
admirable.
yeah, it really is. Like, I don't know many people that would do that.
Again, it's a struggle
Okay.
to distinguish between Dan and character.
Now, let's move it on from that question. I think we got a pretty solid answer and then just kind of beat up on Danny for a bit, sorry.
That's fine. For the good of the podcast.
Hey,
I mean, it kind of is.
I hope so. and then here's one, maybe a truth bomb gets dropped, I don't know what. But would you guys still be playing without us? This is to say, Jessica, if this group disappeared, if Danny moved to China for some reason, and
To purposely catch Corona?
yes,
Okay.
I prefer Modelo.
if for some reason we all separated, thanks for that, and it was just you, would you still want to play Werewolf? And additionally, would you introduce others to Werewolf?
I don't think that I would do as good a job as you did introducing other people to it. So I don't know that I would introduce other people to it because I don't think I'd be good at it, not because I wouldn't want to introduce people to it, if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
If you guys all disappear, yeah, I'd probably try to get in on Nick's game. Like, that's probably what I'd do at this point.
Now, was that because of Nick or because of the game?
Both.
Okay.
Because it is fun. I do enjoy it. I might change my mind when I hear how they play. I don't know. Because it might be totally different than us. And I might go, well, that's not what we're doing. And that's weird. But the game is fun. It's, this is going to sound like stupid and cliche. But, I am learning stuff about myself, too, while I'm playing the game. So.
That's awesome.
No, that's perfect. That's what I'm talking about. I love this fucking game.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
You're up.
Same question.
Oh, yeah.
Just don't steal my answer.
That's no.
Well, that's
Yeah,
tough
I want to
because-
play with Nick too.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nick, if
and,
you're
and
listening.
phrasing.
Phrasing, whoa.
I said
Hands,
sorry.
hands off her man.
No, I probably wouldn't play without this group, and that sucks to say, but this group's a lot of fun. These are my friends. And I wouldn't want to share this with anybody else, mainly because I don't have any other friends who do this.
But do you know that you don't have other friends that do this?
No?
Because if I hadn't been like, so I kind of do this nerd game thing, and just, like, never mentioned it, I don't think I would have known that he did it.
No, you're right. But at the same time, I don't have very many friends that I consider close friends.
That's fair.
Now, I've talked to several friends about this game, and I was like, hey, what do you think? Or would you be interested? Tom being one of them. That's how he got
Yeah,
here.
that's how we got Tom.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I keep a very close-knit group of friends. So I don't talk to that many people about it. And the ones I do, outside of this group, aren't interested. So I would love to keep playing this game if this group kind of split off in different directions, but I doubt it would happen.
And I think you raise a point that I want to touch down on. Everybody talks about this hobby in like hushed and whispered tones.
Right.
Like we need to keep it in the closet.
Like it's a dirty little secret.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not.
No, absolutely
It
not.
really isn't. And there are other role-playing games out there that, truncheons and floggins that, got a bad rap. And we all hide, We don't want to say we're role players and that we play tabletop games. And honestly, I think we need to let our freak flag fly and be proud of it. And mention it to people. And if they can't hang, well, too bad.
I mean, I actually completely agree, and bully for you for taking the point there. That's the thing. We know what this game is.
Mm-hmm.
What these games are. Not just Werewolf, but we're there for it. And this is as cool as hell. What are you talking about? It's not like it shouldn't be this dirty little secret that we're hiding. It is, but largely. But it shouldn't be this dirty little secret we're hiding. It's like, hey, check out this cool as hell thing that you knew nothing about.
Yeah.
Come over here. Check this out, because it's way cooler than you know about.
And if it's not their thing, okay. If they're gonna get down on you for doing it,
Fuck them.
they're not your friends to begin with.
That's true.
Yeah. And I've been lucky, the friends that I have mentioned to it who did not seem interested, none of them have,
But you're
insulted.
You're not lucky. That's how people are supposed to treat people. They're not supposed to insult you for what you find amusing and your hobbies.
That's right. We're supposed to insult you for your performance in game.
Exactly.
And we do a really good job of that.
Seriously, just run it back 10 minutes.
Oh, man. This is just like our game days.
It is just like game days. It's perfect.
Okay, so do you have any other questions?
I don't think I do, but I believe you had one last one to top us off.
I do have one last question. So, Jessica, do you have any advice for players that are just starting out?
I would probably say just try it. Like, go ahead, create a character, just with whatever you want. Hopefully you've got somebody who's there to guide you a little bit and you just don't go, I want 6 dots in this. You can't have 6 dots in something. Like, that's not, you can't.
Look at her drop some knowledge.
Anyway. That doesn't make for a good game anyway. Like, even if your storyteller's like, yeah, I'm gonna golden rule that's gonna be fine. Well, yeah, sure you can't. No, don't.
You
don't
can
do
have
that.
wings, of course you can.
No, you can't. That's
Sure you
not-
can. You just need an owl as your pack totem.
Fair, and then Owl has to decide to give them to you. Like, that's not, you don't just automatically get wings. Anyway, I'd say just give it a shot. Like, have somebody print out a sheet, have somebody go over some character creation points with you, and play a game. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. But if you do like it, you can tweak that character as long as your storyteller will let you
And
at
they
that
should.
point. And again, yeah, they should. If you're showing interest and you want to be in on this thing that they want you to be in on, they should let you.
And I mean, honestly, you can take that first character, and throw it in the shred bin.
Exactly. That was going to be the next thing. Is if you don't wind up liking that first character, make a new one. Nobody's telling you that you can't.
Well, maybe the storyteller is.
Well,
But then that's where you kick the storyteller.
Yeah. That shouldn't be the story.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, your storyteller shouldn't do that. Because again, they should be fostering your creativity with this, and they should want you to play a character that you want to play, because that makes you want to play the game.
Right.
Like, they shouldn't be telling you you can't do that because it makes them uncomfortable. Or the only reason they should tell you you can't do something is if it's actually going to hurt the integrity of the game.
I love that phrase.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to hear a lot of that, guys. Integrity of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll kind of add on that.
Because you're going to steal my answer?
No, he's gonna build off of
I'm
it.
going to build off a little
Oh,
bit.
alright.
Just don't be afraid to try it. You know, there's a reason I'm still on my first character. I felt like after Hell, I think it was the probably second story, I felt emotionally invested into it already.
Neat.
See, I never felt that with my first character. I feel that way more with my second.
I mean, I think story helped with that. You know, learning that character, his father was also in the nation. Now I gotta go find him. What do I do to do that? You know, he's now has not only a background, but he's got personal history with this.
Okay, so
And he started to learn that.
so there's a larger plot for your character.
Yeah, absolutely. And I took that, I ran with it.
Conspiracy theory Danny people.
Yeah, you're right.
But it led
But it-
somewhere.
Exactly.
Hey, I'm not getting down on them. Well, I mean, we all
No, yes, you are. Yes, you have, and you will, just like the rest of them.
It's only because we love you, buddy.
I'm really not that paranoid. It's really happening.
Oh boy.
Take that tinfoil hat off, Dan.
But yeah, so
Sorry.
stop playing with the tinfoil. It's messing up the sound quality. Anyway, back to your advice for new players. So you're saying just jump in the deep end, just go for it.
If you're at all interested, give it a shot. Why the hell not? If you don't like it, you don't like it, you try something else.
I mean, if you've got somebody who's already playing, like if one of us had somebody who was maybe interested in playing, sit in on a game. Like, we can do an abbreviated game or something like a little side story or something.
Like
Just
a
to let
one-off.
somebody- Yeah,
or-
kind of like a one-off, yeah. Just to let somebody see what it is, as opposed to just, here's a book, good luck. You might think this is cool, you might not. Like, it's better to see it actually happen organically.
Yeah, I agree.
100% agree.
That's no argument here. Yeah, I think that about covers it for this episode. I will say look out, because next week the tables are going to turn. And our newbie friends over there will be grilling Joey and I. So that'll be fun for someone. Turnabout's fair play. This will go well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. No problems.
But hey, tell us what you thought as always. You know where to get us. You can get us on email at rageacrosspodcast@gmail.com. On Facebook at Rage Across the Internet. We're at Rage Across on Twitter. You know, as usual, you can find our podcast just where you did right now, but tell your friends they can find it on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and on our website, rageacrosstheinternet.buzzsprout.com. We want to hear from you. Do you have some advice that wasn't covered? Do you have some questions that you think should be answered? Hit us up. Tell us. Please write in, subscribe, rate us well. Think of us fondly, people. And in the meantime, you guys take care, be excellent to each other, and we'll see you later.
Rage Across the Internet's music is It's Into the Fog by Darren Curtis, shared with a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 unported license. For details, check out the information under the podcast.